Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clover Crest, top three corner man, punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand and eight, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing, counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is throwing jabs.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Throwing Jabs Combat Sports Podcast. I'm Big Ace, joined by Joe Aguirre and Jared Jones. Like always, not a lot of big fights this week. Set at UFC. We do have a fight night to talk about. Big UFC card next weekend, which is going to be exciting. International Fight Week. So they're just building up to that. But we have some fun fights to recap. Starting off, new unified light heavyweight champ Artur Beterbiev finishes Joe Smith Jr. in the second round. Jared, your boy, unified champ. Bivol's got to be next, right?
Locks are safe. That's the fourth time I bet my hair. This and completely different levels. This is an elite fighter versus an above average fighter, and he walked through him. And the only part I got wrong is that Joe Smith wasn't going to try to outbox him for 4 rounds. I thought he'd try to outbox him for 4 rounds, be down 3-1, and then go, I got to win a round, and got knocked out. He went in the first round like, I got to win a round, and got knocked out. So he just started fighting sooner than I thought he would. I also wanted to say that every now and again, from the inside of the ring, when you get hit hard, you know, I'm not sure Joe Smith had ever been hit that hard before, because he looked like if you strike an animal and wound it, it will be at its most dangerous. Believing it's in danger, believing it's about to perish. It will throw everything it has. Joe Smith couldn't go 12 rounds like that. Somebody was going down. He wouldn't have survived. His stamina wouldn't have held up. What you saw was a wounded animal putting everything they had out there on some let's get this over with type shit. That's what I saw. He got stung and went, oh my God, this guy's a different kind of beast, and threw everything he had out there. If I'm going to get it done, maybe this is how, but I don't want to do 40 minutes of this. And I don't blame him. This is one of the strongest boxers in the history of the sport. This is a hard puncher. And did you guys see the fight? This guy's a monster, man. And I can't wait for him and Bivol. I think Bivol got a little, he's really, really good, but that got top tier off of Canelo, a la Teofimo Lopez. Beterbiev is the real deal. Usyk is the real deal. And that's the fight I want to see before it's all over. But Beterbiev, Bivol, I will take. And Beterbiev wins that fight.
My first thought is Beterbiev is a much better name than Beterbiev, which I can't get behind that. I feel like, and they were all saying it, and I was like, no, I'd rather be wrong and call him Beterbiev. Because
then that's what Scully told us. So we're just riding with Ice.
It's a way Beterbiev. That I don't think that's how his grandfather told him his name. If I'm guessing. And yeah, listen, I thought Joe Smith was going to last a little longer in this fight because the kid's got heart and chin. When it came to talent, it was, Tony in the comments called him a subpar fighter. I don't know if that's fair to say, but the talent difference between these two guys was probably a little bit bigger than I thought it was. That said, I also made fun of Joe Smith's inability to do anything but throw big rights. And he threw, I know this was not a long fight, he threw 33 jabs. Landed 4. Not a good boxer. And against a guy like Beterbiev, he needed to be at his best. And yeah, he's definitely sub-elite. I remember watching the Blasov fight, and I thought, how is this guy a champion of anything? I thought Vatsov destroyed him, to be honest. Definitely tagged him more. But yeah, like you said, Jared, it seemed like the second Beterbiev hit him, he didn't want to be there anymore. I think you're right. I think he was getting hit harder than he's been hit before. Even when they stopped the fight, that last punch, I mean, it seemed like it rattled everything in Joe Smith's head. He was completely off balance, and the referee kindly stopped the fight. There was no reason for it to continue at that point. You could have stopped it, honestly, at any one of the knockdowns. And by the way, that first slip was a knockdown. He got hit in the head and he slipped and fell. I think he slipped because he got hit in the head, not because he lost his footing. So to me, it was even worse than I think what it actually looked like.
So picture him going, just for the sake of argument, because we're here, picture Joe Smith lasting 12 rounds and having 2 judges think he won a round. And 1 judge thought he won 2 rounds. Because that's what happened with Dmitry Bivol. Beterbiev is a different kind of guy. If you watch the fight and watch Joe Smith fight before, who else stopped this kid early in his career? Eddie Caminero. Okay, yep. So nobody. Yep. He had been stopped before. But I mean, Sullivan Barrera can bang. Bivol can bang. Jesse Hart can bang. Vlasov gave him a great fight. I'm not high on Steve Jaffard, but any of these guys, Sullivan Barrera, Bivol, Hopkins, Fonfara is a hell of a fighter. These guys didn't stop Joe Smith. Joe Smith stopped some of those guys. We're talking about an above average guy versus an elite guy. And like Tony said, he took care of him exactly how an elite fighter should take care of a subpar fighter. Now, if Bivol's elite and Smith is slightly above average, They go the distance and win every round. Right? But Beterbiev's a different animal. He beats Bivol. He crushes Canelo. And Usyk is the only fight on the planet for this guy. Beterbiev, Usyk at light heavyweight. You see what Usyk looks like standing next to Fury. Like, congratulations. You know, in the spirit of Roy Jones and James Toney and Chris Bird, congratulations. Moving up, Usyk. Congratulations. But I don't want Beterbiev at heavyweight. And I think Tyson Fury's a mismatch for everybody. And that's the fight I want to see. It's Beterbiev versus Usyk. That is the best fight you can make on the planet right now with the two best fighters on the planet right now. Period. I don't think there's an argument against it. And they're the same size.
I love that fight. I mean, we talked about it a lot. Beterbiev, Bivol. My question to you guys, though, what battle for the undisputed belt is more beneficial for boxing? Beterbiev and Bivol or Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence?
It has to be Spence just because and Crawford just because the name recognition. Not because it's a better fight and not because they're necessarily better fighters, but just because people are going to recognize those names. It's going to generate more. So as far as importance for the sport of boxing, you have to say Bud Spence, right, Joe?
Oh, God, yeah, I would. You know, literally because of the names and the fact that this has been a couple of years in the making, at least, a few years in the making, at least, whereas, you know, Beterbiev and Bivol have emerged more recently than the other two. Again, a great fight, and certainly one we want to see, but I would give the edge to Spence and Crawford.
BoxRec pound for pound. This is just something I found the other day that I wanted to share with you guys. BoxRec pound for pound, top 16 males. How many are undefeated?
Out of 10.
Wow.
16. Top 16. 10 are undefeated. Pound for pound females. How many are undefeated? Top 16.
None. 4.
They're fighting each other.
Yeah.
Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Jess McCaskill, Baumgartner, Persoon. These guys, they all fight each other. And Cameron's on her, Chantel Cameron's on her way up. She's about to get one of those fights. Mayer's about to get one of those fights. Like, they're all, Katie won all of those fights. Katie beat half of those girls that have losses on their records. I need Spence Crawford. I need Tank to fight somebody he's going to lose to. I need these undefeated guys to start doing what they're supposed to be doing because we've gotten to a point where it's damaging the sport. I understand you not wanting to damage your career and everybody taking it personally for them, but we're damaging the sport. We need universally the management to come together, and we need one commission. I've said it forever. We need a boxing commission.
Yeah. We need a Dana White of boxing. Say what you want about Dana White, but he makes the big fights happen. Just before we move on, Tony, I think what he's saying here, Crawford, Spence, that fight should have happened years ago. Exactly. I think this has a potential. If they wait long enough, this could end up being like a Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao type thing. It should have happened years ago. Maybe this could be the I'm not saying anything. Maybe it could be a fallout of someone taking advantage, something like that. But for Beterbiev and Bivol, I think both these guys are right at their primes right now, and that's going to be they are coming up on most casual fans' radars right now, especially after Bivol beat a guy like Canelo, a name like Canelo. This is a fight that needs to happen and needs to happen soon. No one wants to see Anthony Yard.
Yeah, funny too, on the case of Bivol, I mean, most people thought he had no chance to beat Canelo.
Yeah.
I mean, looked beyond the size and just like, Canelo's the best. He's going to win, of course. And, that didn't play out so well. So, yeah, look, I think the more fans get to see Beterbiev and Bivol, I think, it'll be to everyone's advantage. Listen, I think too, and especially now in this country, I think there's sort of some negative sentiment towards Russians. And so, yeah, I know. I feel like, they're probably not getting the love they should be getting or would be getting maybe if Russia wasn't, violating Ukraine like it's doing right now.
I agree. It's hard not to.
Which is a real shame. I mean, like, those guys have nothing to do with what Vladimir Putin's doing, but I do think that hurts a little bit.
I've said
Maybe
it.
a lot
This
of
a
it.
little off track from fighting, but I've said it about America before. I know a kid from Norway, and I'm not one of those, but most people would be like, "Oh, people from Norway are," and think of their friend from Norway. Do you want to be American anywhere else?
No.
Do you want to claim and represent what's going on here? So I bet there's a lot of people, no offense to I'm not, but I bet there's a lot of people in Russia who feel that same way. Our country is doing things that I'm not a part of, and I don't condone.
Yeah. So much
John put up a Facebook post the other day about somebody told him he shouldn't be wearing his jacket. He has a Russian Federation jacket that Beterbiev gave to him as a gift. Warmest jacket he's ever owned. It was cold. He put on a jacket. And the question was, should I, because of what's going on, not have a Russian Boxing Federation jacket on? And it's a good question. Yes, it's a piece of clothes. Yes, it's just a jacket, but we're there. It's tough. This is tough.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you're not paying attention to it and don't care and should be allowed to wear your jacket.
Yeah. But if you Google right now, just type in Artur Beterbiev and look at the search results. Canadian Russian boxing champion. They put Canada first because of what's going on in Russia. But and I mean, bringing back to the potential Usyk fight with what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, the Ukrainian against the Russian.
Ukraine is not weak.
Let's go. So Rocky versus Ivan Drago moment there.
That's how Max Schmeling.
That's how they should settle the war between Russia and Ukraine.
Oh, please.
Winner gets country.
There was a time when your baddest guy and our baddest guy, and they just go to the death, and then one of us wins based on those two because it only involves two people. Yeah. If this was a hand war, though, Beterbiev would be holding up the whole country by like Loma Usyk just come in and wipe out everybody else. I mean, there's not. Yeah, this would have been over a long time ago if they had done it like that, I think. I'd just love to see the fight.
Yeah, well, so hopefully you can make it happen. I know that I think Tony said it here. If Joshua loses again, Usyk might retire to most fans. That would suck if he can't. But light heavyweight, cruiserweight, super middleweight, Eastern Europeans, yeah. Just dominated.
We like us an American champion,
Yeah.
America.
Think about how much boxing struggled when it was like Klitschko there. Like, you could go on the street and you wouldn't know. You could ask people who's the heavyweight champion of the world. They wouldn't know. But then once
you can ask people that right now, it's tough. Maybe not so much at heavyweight since Fury came along, but having 5 belts is confusing.
Yes.
Well, listen, for what, a dozen years the Klitschko brothers held it, and nobody in America really cared.
No.
I think outside of my brother, one of the only Klitschko fans I know. I'm serious. By and large during that period, heavyweight kind of lost the luster because of that. And that's a very, again, in this country, we don't think that anything else anyone's doing is worth what we're doing here, because Jesus loves us here.
I mean, look at soccer in the United States, right? We're not competing for the World Cup.
The most popular,
the ones that brought you Jack Johnson.
Yeah. The most popular and most well-played sport in the entire world. And for us, it's something that pussies play.
We have something else we call football. Even we've got another.
I know.
Kind
We're
of.
like, no, we got that name's
That's
already
not what
used.
that's called.
We'll call it sucker or whatever.
Metric system. How many meters did he run for?
All right. Let's dive. Let's get into UFC. We got a big fight. Not a big fight. We got a fight to talk about later. First, let's recap last week. Josh Emmett takes a controversial split decision over Calvin Kattar. Before this fight started, I was thinking to myself, we talked about the Santos Shevchenko fight, and I'm like, maybe because we talked about judging and all that stuff, and I came to the conclusion the last 2 rounds are important. They're the championship rounds for a reason. I think judges hold that in higher regard. But then this fight happened, so I don't know. So because Kattar won those last 2 rounds, and so
but he was already
Joe,
he was down 3-0 at the time. So winning the last 2 rounds brought him close. Controversial to me. The only controversy was that someone saw this 47-48. This was 48-47 across the board. I was wrong about Josh Emmett. I didn't think he had what it takes to handle him on the feet. I figured he'd want to go to the mat, and he really just wanted to punch Kattar's face in, and he did a really good job of that. But yeah, I mean, I think he was up 3-0 going into your championship rounds. And look, Calvin Kattar is a really good fighter. He's a top 5 kind of guy, but he's beatable. And you lost to Josh Emmett on the feet with the hands. And I know he prides himself on being a great boxer. When you're getting outboxed by Josh Emmett, it might be time for you to go into the toolkit and try something else.
Yes,
Because
and that's what I would have liked to see.
He looked inept for most of the first 3 rounds. He was getting beaten with the jab. Every exchange, Emmett came out on top.
When do you try something different?
Again, dude, it's like, yeah, I mean, I think in Kattar's mind, he thought he's going to land one at some point and knock Josh Emmett out. And that didn't happen, and didn't even get close to that. So
you know what it kind of reminded me of? It was an exciting, high volume Thug Rose versus Carla Esparza, because it's like you had this plan. If you're Kattar, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna use the jab, I'm gonna outbox him, my jab will be too good, and I'll win every round like that, just outboxing him. And then you're in this really, 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 really close fight. And you like stick to that game plan as if you're winning every round, like it's working. When do you change the game plan and try something new? I'd like to see either one of these guys try something different. When it's that close, do the thing that's going to put it over the edge. That said, great take, Joe. And the most disappointing part of what happened here is we found out that Kattar is not and will not ever be good enough to be on that top tier, upper echelon list of fighters. He's good. He's exciting. He's got good hands. But if Josh Emmett is your boxing equal and boxing is your go-to, you have a serious, serious problem in the UFC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of Josh Emmett, calls out Volkanovski afterwards. I mean, this is a bum of the month situation. If Volkanovski can handle his business against Holloway next weekend.
Is that next? Is that really? I mean, is Josh Emmett next? If we get Holloway, Volkanovski, and I'm sorry, I can't.
I mean, might as well. I mean, you're gonna want. I guess you're the winner of Ortega Rodriguez, maybe. That'd be the only other one, or you do what? 4 times with Holloway.
Oh my
I wouldn't have a
God.
problem with 4 times with Holloway because to me that would still be a better fight than literally any of those other guys. And listen, I mean, Josh Emmett was like, I know they're the 2 greatest of all time. Like, I'm somebody they haven't beaten yet. Let me go in there and get beat up.
Give me
That
Bryce Mitchell.
That's what I took from what Josh Emmett said. Instead of Max Holloway getting beaten up again by Volkanovski, rather than Yair go and get another, let me go get beat up. Let me get beaten up by Volkanovski. And I hope they let that happen.
Yeah.
I want Bryce Mitchell. I wish Chagadze had beaten Qatar. That's what we really needed here. But Bryce Mitchell. Yeah, it can't be Josh Emmett. Like, that can't be right. That just can't be right. It doesn't make sense to me. I think you're looking at a Joe Smith Beterbiev situation where one guy's elite and the other guy's kind of above average. That's what, Qatar and Emmett, these are 2 slightly above average, great boxers. And I thought Qatar was the better boxer. And when they box the whole time and it's tied the whole time, when do you hit your nitrous if you're neck and neck the whole time? Sooner or later, you've got to have something that sets you apart. And they just didn't do it. Neither one of them for me.
Jader Sony can't hang, and Emmett was doing an interview with Bisbing yesterday, and his stitches opened back up.
Oh yeah, this guy got a Texas suspension too. Did you see his face after the fight?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you're calling for Bryce Mitchell, a guy that I brought up last week when we talked about people to keep on your radar. But I mean, honestly, do you see that much of a difference between Volkanovski versus Bryce Mitchell versus Josh Emmett? Let's be honest here, Jared. No.
Yes. Difference in the fight, yes. Difference in the result, probably not.
Yeah. So I just keep feeding. I guess I think the only real interesting thing for Volkanovski, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more next week and the week after that, is lightweight. I think for him. Because, I mean, doing 15 fights with Max Holloway, what's that really do for you, But
good fights.
Yeah, good fights, yeah. But all right, we'll talk more about Volkanovski and Max Holloway next week. Don't worry. But we got a interesting who you got with it being baseball season. But first, let's hear a word from one of our sponsors.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All right. Big shout out to Shamrock Home Inspections for sponsoring today's episode. Now, let's get into the who you got. We've done football. We've done basketball. Baseball is in the swing of things. No pun intended there. Joe and I were just talking about the Yankees. Nice little cameo there. But all right, Joe, you're the baseball guy. We're making a combat sports baseball team. Do it like we did before. Who's going to be your pitcher, Joe?
I'm going to have Dominic Reyes on the mound. Dominic actually played a little baseball in his day. Just recently threw out the pitch at a Dodgers game. Looked pretty good doing it. So he's my starting pitcher. My catcher is one of the toughest son of a bitches and most talented guys in the UFC, Alexander Volkanovski. I'm going to use some of that rugby skill, get him in some pads, put him behind the plate. Tony Ferguson, I don't know if you guys know this, but he actually trains with a lot of baseball players at his gym. He loves taking grounders. Recently posted some of that on Instagram. So he's my infielder. And my outfielder, in addition to being the greatest heavyweight in UFC history, he hit 344 with 7 home runs and 43 RBI to lead the Trevecca Nazarene University to a conference title. Stipe Miocic. How you like that?
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's a solid crew of guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. But Jared, who you got?
Oh. So, pitcher, I'm going to take Joe's quarterback, Loma. I just want the thinker. I just want the thinker back there, and he's got the mind, the athleticism. He's going to figure it out. I feel like Loma is one of those guys you don't want to play dominoes or hopscotch with. You know, I'd like to think I'm one of those guys. I'm not going to run a 4.40. But if we're doing something and the rules are the same for you that they are for me, I'm going to find a way. He's going to adapt. He's going to adjust. He finds a way to win. I want Loma back there. For a catcher, I'll take, I think I want Usyk as a catcher. Big, durable. You're not going to run him over at the plate. Again, a leader. My infielder is Inoue. I'll put Inoue at shortstop all day. And some wheels out in center. This one's tough. I think Josh Taylor, maybe, to play the outfield.
I like that. I don't know about Loma at the mound, but other than that, I like that.
The little unit.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm not a baseball guy. I need to say that. But a pitcher, 100% KO rate. I think he turns those KOs into some Ks. I got Artur Beterbiev.
I like that. That was clever, too.
Thank you. Catcher, I just want him to fuck with the batters. So I just want him to get in the batter's head, talk some shit. Conor McGregor, baby.
That's pretty good. I like
wow, that's a guy, you know. There you go. Yeah, Nate
Only
Diaz,
problem-
somebody should be back there.
As a lefty, you don't really want a lefty catching.
Mhm.
It's your only. I like McGregor there though. Otherwise, if you could get him to throw on a right-handed mitt, you're in good shape.
Hey, have you seen his first pitch? Maybe he does need to throw righty.
Yeah.
How about the Diaz brothers as the whole battery? Just Nick and Nate pitching and catching.
That would definitely be the most entertaining of teams.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Just middle fingers everywhere. Yeah. All right, infielder. Someone great footwork. Always going to be in the right spot at the right time. Katie Taylor. Shout out to her. Between her and Lomo there. Outfielder. I want someone who's an athlete, willing to put his body on the line, and also got a cannon. So I'm going to go Francis Ngannou. Yeah.
As your outfielder, he doesn't strike me as someone that's going to run down. I mean, you know, I'm thinking of Bo Jackson now. Are you thinking of Ngannou in the mold of a Bo Jackson, where he's running over walls and hitting check swing home runs? All right, I'll go with that.
Dude, you want? Can we put the athlete though? Stephen Fulton, Ennis, Boots Ennis, center field. There's some guys here. Demetrius Andrade could probably play. Gary Allen Russell Jr. There's your center fielder. He's fast.
Yeah. I also
sleep before it gets dark in the room.
Some honorable mentions for outfielder. I had Edson Barbosa. It's the way he throws kicks that fast. I figured he could get around there that fast. Yeah, other than that, that's really the only one I had. I tried to keep off the people I normally put on, like Deontay Wilder, Max Holloway. So, yeah. I think those are some good lists. Obviously, I mean, mine's not the best, but I'm not a baseball guy, so we'll take that out.
Beterbiev, I don't like the flexibility issue on the mound either. That was the problem I had picking a pitcher is that the bigger guys that I want to put there, I'm not sure are going to have the flexibility to really hum some, So, but there you have it.
Yeah, I picked Beterbiev just for the KOs to case. But
Some
okay.
K's and O's.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Now let's get in to tonight's fight. Lightweight battle, main event, UFC Vegas. I think is 57. I don't know. There's too many of these. Yeah, 57. Boom. Arman Tsarukyan against Matthias Gamrot. Joe, who you got?
All right. Just so everyone's clear, Tsarukyan's won 5 in a row. Gamrot's won 3 in a row. These guys only have 2 losses combined in the UFC, so they've both gotten off to pretty good starts. Both lost to, and lost to very impressive people. Gamrot's been in some 5-rounders, and it really is probably more suited for a longer fight, but on the other hand, Arman is the more polished fighter. He's a better striker on the feet, and I think that's what's going to win this fight. Unless you have what you had exactly 1 week ago, in which case the striker got outstruck here. But if things go according to plan, I think Arman Tsarukyan is the guy that you want to keep an eye on. These guys, this is a big fight. These two guys are held in pretty high regard right now. Gamrot's not ranked yet, but Tsarukyan is, and I wouldn't be surprised to see either of these two, or the winner of this fight, maybe is a fight away from fighting for a strap here.
Maybe. I don't know. These guys are definitely 2 up-and-comers. I like it when you got a division this packed at the top, have the 2 young and hungry lions kill each other off and figure out which one's ready for that next step. But Jared, who's going to take it tonight?
I like Tsarukyan. I think he's just playing better. It's tough, but a little better competition and less decisive loss, let's say. Only one of these guys ever been stopped. Man, that 5-fight winning streak in the UFC and the opposition, even the records of the opposition, I just feel like that the 3 that Gamrot got are not as impressive as the other 5. I put those 3 against any 3 out of those 5. I'm taking Tsarukyan as the better opposition. I think he's built better. He's come up through better competition, and Gamrot will be a little bit out of his league. This might go to decision, but Arman's going to be a bit better. He's going to be the better guy in there, and he'll find a way to win. It's a puncher's chance for Gamrot.
All right. I think this is going to be, I like the decision. I think if you're betting on this, the over, I think it's going to go to the decision. Both these guys, first time being on the stage really this big. I mean, even close to this big main event. So I think I like Tsarukyan, but the way you guys are talking, I think this is too close for it to be a clean sweep. So I'm gonna go Gamrot. I think get it down to the ground, maybe submit him. But either way, I think this is gonna be a close fight. It's not like big names, obviously, but I think it's fun. I mean, any real. There's very, very few UFC fights you can turn on and get bored with. Derek Lewis, Francis Ngannou, and I think that's about it.
There's on this card, there's so in the co-main event, Neil Magny's taking on Shavrat Ramakanov, who's 15-0, and Nathan Manis is 14-1. He's fighting Umar Nurmagomedov, who's 14-0. So couple of undefeated fighters stepping up tonight. I think that'll be fun to see. This isn't as I'm looking at the card, I don't hate it. It's just, it's not like this would never be a pay-per-view. But no. As I look at this is a pretty solid card if you generally watch the entire card. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's some pretty, Thiago Moises is fighting. I like this. Now that I'm looking at it, I'll definitely be locked in for several hours on this. I wasn't sure if I was just going to wait, kind of skip over some of the prelim stuff, but I think I'm in.
All right. I mean,
hey, there it is again. Parlay every name that ends with V. There's 3 of them on the card.
Every name
they'll all win.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'd stack Tsarukyan on the top of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not taking that 1250. I'm lying, but it's fun.
All right.
Those guys with the name ends with V, they have a great winning percentage.
All right, Jared. Well, tell me what you're actually going to take with our puncher's chance.
A bunch of upsets. Listen, there's reasoning behind all of this. Jesse Rodriguez hasn't really fought anybody yet. Now he's fighting a guy that's 50-5. I don't know why I started from the bottom up. Raymond Ford, some of the same stuff. These guys are all being tested past where they've been tested before. That's not true of Sam Eggington is kind of the veteran there, but he's fighting an undefeated fighter, and the undefeated guy's getting plus 260. Elwin Soto, again, probably a little bit aged. I think he's looking for a bounce back fight, and I think he bit off a little bit more than he can chew. So I parlayed all 4 of these in a round robin for $2. So it costs 10 to win 2,000 if they all 4 hit.
Beautiful.
You get 3 of those, you'll get paid.
Hell yeah. Love getting paid. But everyone loves getting paid.
Yeah, they do. Yes.
I hate it when that happens.
Not me. I'm good.
Although.
But all right. That's it for the fights. I mean, not that many fights, but still tune in. I mean, there's nothing better on. But you're gonna watch hockey? No one watches hockey. I don't even think that game was last night. So
well, this is really funny.
The other football.
Yeah, right. God forbid. I find every Saturday, it's unfortunate. I have not been able to watch many Yankee games this year. They're just my local cable dropped them. I get them on Prime or ESPN, Fox Sports sometimes, but I find almost every Saturday, the only other thing I would want to watch, I'm not able to. And, there's like 30 fights in the UFC. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Sure. Baseball's basically put a gun in my head. They're like, watch the UFC all the time. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll do it. I love this.
Okay, fine.
If I must, I must.
Hell yeah. Yeah, enjoy the fights. But that's going to do it for today's show. Big shout out to Chris Sawyer and EMAC Home Mortgage for sponsoring today's episode and Shamrock Home Inspections. And we're going to end the show like we always do. Jared, brother, hit us with that.
The perpetual crash. I don't think anybody on the planet really has a grasp on how many people reach out to me and ask for my advice or look for my guidance when things go wrong for them. My wife, my kid, some of my best friends that I work with. I don't think anybody really has a concept of how often I do that. I just lost another real close friend of mine, and I'm looking through the messages for the thing I was supposed to say. You know, if I had said this, maybe I could have made a difference. And I started, as I'm reading, I'm realizing it's not there. It doesn't exist. There was nothing more I could have said. I said all of it. I'm sure at the time I believed that I was being too hard on this person. I really said everything I was supposed to say, and I'm trying to liken it to a feeling, and I finally figured it out. It's like that feeling when you're in a car crash. You know you're about to hit something. Whoa, whoa, look out! And you're in the passenger seat, and that brief moment where you know it's about to happen, and then sometimes from the passenger seat, with the inability to do anything physically, I'm able to talk that person out of the crash because I can see it and they can't. And somehow they're able to take my word for what's coming next. And then there's other times that feeling of, oh, we're about to hit something is me helpless in the passenger seat for years on end, watching this crash happen in slow motion, often for years. I went through some other messages from around that time and found some of the same stories to 2 or 3 other people. And some of them turned, you know, some of them got out of the car, some of them parked. There are people who've thought it over. And there are other people, no matter what I say, I can see it. I know it's coming. They're not listening. They're the only one who doesn't believe they're in danger. And there's literally nothing I can do. And it's become one of the hardest parts of my life is when people reach out to me for advice and I can see where they're headed and I can't make them do anything different. This is where they were headed for years. This is where the path led. And I said out loud, this is where the path leads. And now I have pictures of the crash. And that's all that's left. Thanks, guys.
Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clover Crest, top 3 corner man. Punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand and eight, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing, counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is throwing jabs.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All 4 Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meat, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.